So welcome back, everybody. Thank you to those who tuned in on the YouTube for part one to see what our predictions for the Oscars would be, and then for the listeners, well, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say. First time we're kind of doing an episode like this in two recordings. So I think I had a lot of fun doing it personally, Matt. It was fun to get a nice little shorter form version of content out there, do a
Right.
retrospective on the Oscars. So I'll just start off by saying I feel like we're pretty bang on with a lot of our predictions for
hmm
how the Oscars would play out. I did a count, I went 9 for 13. So pretty happy with that. That yeah, I mean, did you do a running count of how many you got right and wrong?
No, I did. No, I'm kicking myself, but I had a lot right too.
Yeah.
A couple of surprises that we'll get into, but no, I'll count one. I'll count it quickly when we get into it. But it's crazy that for the listeners, it's like 2 second transition. For us, it's like
Mm-hmm.
168 hours later to the like exactly 1 week from now. From last 1 week ago, we're back at the same time recording. Um, it was a pretty crazy show, actually, the Oscars.
Mm.
What I find funny, let's get into just like every year they're trying to like squeeze it to make it like more condensed and shorter, but every year it's over 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This year it started at 7 p.m. our time. Thank God, because it ended at what, like 10:45. I didn't have to work the next morning, but for you, Eric, like, were you a little annoyed with that? Like, you got to work Monday morning, right?
Well, I was actually off the Monday, so it worked
Oh,
out well
okay.
for me. But yeah, if it was a regular Monday, which are sometimes my in-office days, would have been a little frustrating because yeah, like sometimes we would only get to see one category announced because there'd be either a musical number or some sort of homage paid to past actors, James Bond for some reason, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I honestly just wanted to get all the awards. I'm just tuning in for the awards. Like I'm not really there for the theatrics. That being said, I did enjoy some of them, and yeah, I think before we get into like a recap of all the award winners, that's probably a good thing to do is like just share our thoughts on the ceremony itself. So yeah, I liked Conan. Let's start there. What did you think of him as a host? I was a fan personally.
I was a big fan of Conan because he's always a professional. He's always like on. He's always doing a great job. Um, the jokes were like good, a little risky, but not like Ricky Gervais, like I guess controversial would be more the word. They're not like too over the top. Yeah, he's solid. I've always thought Conan was a showman professional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like kind of like his ad lib. They always do this every year. The host will like, depending on who's winning, they'll make jokes on that or how the evening's going. I like that. I thought opening it with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande singing "Defying Gravity" was really, really cool. Great, they're both great singers. But Conan was solid, serviceable. Conan is perfectly serviceable for this job. Nothing crazy. It's not underwhelming. It's not overwhelming. What did you think, Eric? You said you're really a big fan.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Like his opening monologue was funny. I liked he had a little musical piece too. Now it's been a week there. I forget exactly what it was. I think it was like they're making a joke about we're not gonna waste anybody's time. But then that whole bit was dragged out. But I thought it was funny. Like I like that he
Mm-hmm.
went with the musical route too. The Carla Sofia Gascon joke was gold. I don't know if you
It
recall,
was.
like about the
Yeah.
f bombs there and her publicist. I don't even think she got the joke because she looked kind of confused. But that was a good one. That was the one I laughed at the most. I mean,
Yeah.
also when he said like, "Oh, now it's halftime," so that means it's time for Kendrick
Oof.
Lamar to pop out and call Drake a pet. Like that was a crazy one. So he had a couple
Savage.
of like true laugh out loud jokes for me. I like the "Your Move Estonia" bit. That was pretty funny. Those are the ones that stand out to me. Yeah, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, great opening act as well. I was a big fan there. You knew
Yeah.
Cynthia wasn't gonna win Best Actress. I was hoping maybe Ariana would walk away with it, but
Mm-hmm.
anyways, we'll get into that later. But yeah, those are mine there. And then one other thing I wanted to go over, and maybe this could lead to another discussion, is What were your thoughts on the whole James Bond featurette that they had in there? Like, I was honestly, it shocked me that that was even there, and I thought it was gonna
Right.
lead to an announcement of who the next Bond was gonna be. I think that would have been a better use of our time, personally.
Hmm.
But what did you think of that whole shtick?
My first emotion was surprise because I had no idea this was happening, and then like the different actors and singers they got for it was surprising too. I didn't mind it, but I don't think it accomplished anything, and B, um, it just added more to the running time of an already long show with a ton of commercials. I might add. This
Mm-hmm.
brought me back to the day of watching cable TV. Um, is it because Amazon has the rights to James Bond now? It's like a closing tribute to like Barbara Broccoli, the producer, and the other one, because her dad was like the original producer of all the James Bond movies, and it was like a little dynasty going on there. But it wasn't really some sort of like I think the first Bond was 60 or 62, so it wasn't really a special anniversary. I liked the tribute. Like the singing was fine, was really cool actually. The dancing. I love James Bond. It would have Eric, like the new James Bond emerges at the end, and that's the reveal. That would have
Mm-hmm.
been cool, right? I just thought of that. Yeah. No, I thought it was. My first thought was surprising. I'm like, okay, that's pretty random and out of left field. Out of left field is my thought on this.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Definitely. I like the when I saw Margaret Qualley there, for example,
Mm,
my first thought was like, okay, she's gonna be the Bond girl in the next
mm,
movie. Like, that's where my mind
mm.
went. And then you start with the Bond girl, end with the Bond, but they only maybe gave us half, because I could definitely see her being a Bond girl in one of these movies, 100%. And that's what I wanted to ask you out of this is, do you have anyone that you'd like to see play James Bond, or is it too soon already for a new Bond?
I think it is too soon. Everything's rushed nowadays, though. It's like think of the Spider-Man franchise, right? How quickly that happened. Like
Mm.
new one right away after the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Who I'd like to see, honestly, I can't really think. I need more time to prep for this because I'd have to do a deep research. Like they can either go. Here's my thought. They can either go a more comedic character with charisma, like maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson, someone funny like him from Bullet Train type of James
Yeah.
Bond, or they can go the Tom Hardy route, more like a brute animal force of nature James Bond, kind of like Daniel Craig, his super badass fight scenes and stuff, and chase scenes. So they can go those two routes, or Eric, they can go completely cast against type, like against character description from the novels, and go. Yeah, I think that could be open a whole new doors. Kind of like they're doing different casting with the new Harry Potter series.
Mm.
Uh, some announcement on that recently, like John Lithgow playing Dumbledore, first American cast. So that's cool. Anyways, let's not deep dive into that, but that'll probably be a future episode.
Definitely.
But yeah, do you have any thoughts, Eric, on who you would cast as James Bond?
Yeah, ATJ was, I feel like, a name that's been floated around.
Mm-hmm.
Anya Taylor-Joy as well. Why not? But someone else who'd be like definitely against type is another name that's been floated. Like, I'm not coming up with this out of the blue. Josh O'Connor, so the guy from Challengers, not
Okay.
Art, the other, like the brown hair guy.
Right.
I liked him in the
Oh,
movie. I
interesting.
think he's an up and coming actor as well. Like, I feel like could pull off the suave, kind of cocky feel or characteristic that Bond has. Would be interesting, but I feel like that would definitely be one that doesn't fit either category.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, I agree with your Aaron Taylor Johnson and your Tom Hardy breakdowns. I don't really want Tom Hardy as James Bond, though. I'll just say right now, I wouldn't want him. I always have a hard time understanding him in general. I feel like he mumbles way too much, and while sure he is a great actor, has been in a lot of great movies, I would rather see someone who we don't associate to Bane when we see him on screen as James Bond, right? So that's kind of my
I
thought
agree
there.
with that. Yeah.
Just want to make it clear that I also do not want Tom Holland to be James Bond, which that's also been talked about. There you're really rebranding. You're going with a truly young Bond. I feel like Bond, it has to be like a man in like maybe his 40s, around that age, not someone like oh, Q, this is a really cool gadget. Like you just can't see
Yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Holland. You couldn't take him seriously as Bond, right? And if it
yeah.
was Tom Holland, so that's kind of my thought there on the Bond piece. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of the in memoriam is always like a topic of debate after because they're always like, oh, they left out all these actors or actresses or this and that, but like we can't have 100 names pop up and have that last forever. But that's always one of my favorite parts, honestly. I'm not gonna lie because I get a little emotional and I'm like I always forget how many people in the industry we've lost. Like I mostly only know the actors and actresses and the directors, but like there's a lot of big names out there, and that's always a section I like. Do you like that little like 5 to 8 minute segment, Eric?
Not crazy about it, to be honest. I do think I kind of stopped watching at that point. I went to like brush my teeth. I'm like, all right, perfect. I'm not gonna miss too much here. Don't disrespect, but I'm just saying it was getting later. It's also later in the show. Interest is really at that point. I just want to see the main awards, so I did use that time to, like I said, brush my teeth, get ready for bed. So no, I am.
Fair enough.
I can't say I was dialed into that, but it definitely is. You also remember like, oh, it's true. Like we lost these people over the year because, yeah, I mean, time, a year is so much time in it, right? So it's easy to
Yeah.
forget, and then it kind of gets you reminiscing on those people and their performances and the impact they had. But no, and I think Gene Hackman was maybe the first name that was mentioned because he was the most recent at the time. But
Right.
yeah,
And the biggest name, yeah. 2-time Oscar winner, and Morgan Freeman came out just to talk about his friend Gene Hackman, and
right.
apparently died of natural causes. So that was a weird situation. Yeah, his wife died. No, his wife died of natural causes. Then a week later, he died of natural causes. But he had Alzheimer's. He had no idea. So it's pretty weird actually situation.
Yeah, it's a weird storyline that I feel like new
Yeah.
details are coming out of. I'm not
Yeah.
really following it along that much, to be honest, but I do know that it keeps popping up, so I'm sure there's going to
Yeah.
be more to the story. It's not done yet. So, last thing I had as a note from the show was the Adrian Brody speech. Not a
get into
fan at
that,
all.
yeah.
Not a fan.
let's
I
get
mean,
into it. Yeah.
he's clocked in at the longest acceptance speech of all time. And did he actually say anything of meaningful impact? I don't think so. He was
Yeah.
rambling. I mean, he was rambling, kind of came off as an ass, telling them, like, shut the music off. I've done this before. We're not doing this. It could have been a funny moment. Actually, could have been a funny moment, but really just made him look like a pompous jackass, in my opinion, and made him seem just like selfish and like he wasn't really thankful to anybody really for the his resurgence that this movie has given him. So yeah, it wasn't really about it.
Yeah, more about himself, and let's talk about the speech. Then we can talk. Well, I guess we'll bring it back to like who we thought should have won. Anyways, the speech. Okay, first of all, even before he starts talking, like they announce his name and he's running up the stage, but it tosses the gum to the wife,
That
and she
was
like drops.
crazy.
That was weird, and that actually shows a lot about Adrian Brody, in my opinion. Actions, actions speak louder than words. Like just that moment, I'm like, all right. He's a little full of himself, and he won when he was younger, so already he has a big ego. I think he's a little bitter right now because he kind of disappeared from the spotlight, and he kind of alluded to like he wanted to like come back into like people's mainstream. Like he kind of left for a little bit in terms of popularity, we'll say. But then he wins this award, doesn't say much. A lot of them this year at the Oscars didn't say much till like the freaking music started playing. Then it's like, all right, down to business. Kieran Culkin handled that whole time thing more fun, like in a funnier way, where he's like trying to rush and like joking about it. But Adrian Brody's just like, I'm getting my way no matter what, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
I can't even remember exactly what he said too because it was very long, 5 minutes 40 seconds or whatever. Like it didn't seem like an eternity. Like I was just tuning out right now. Like I got my phone out. I'm like, all right, Adrian, let's go. Also, there's some stuff I learned about his performance that I didn't realize either after the fact. But we'll get into that after when we talk about the other nominees. Yeah, I don't know, Eric. He was good in The Brutalist, but after that speech, it left a bad taste in my mouth. Kind of like this guy on set must be like full of himself and like probably has his own ideas, and you can't really tell him what to do. He is definitely an artist, an eclectic artist. Yeah, they're not a fan of that moment in the show.
Definitely. And that was like one of the last ones too. And that was also
Yeah,
a big one that we were looking forward to in that it really was a two-horse race in the mainstream media anyways, was the passing of the torch from Brody to Timothy Chalamet as the youngest actor, from one youngest actor ever to the next one. I just think
yeah,
like what a moment it would have been if Timothy had won. That speech most likely would have been more uplifting, and he wouldn't have come off as a jackass. Like you even saw Timo, how hyped up he was when the Dune crew members won for visual effects. When they won, he was dapping them up, like hyped for
yeah,
the fellas. Like I love just seeing those little moments there. I think he's a better
yeah.
person overall than Adrian Brody, but I don't know either of them, so it's tough to say. But it's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So that was all I had in the award show. Really, we can quickly go over like the production ones and then get into the acting categories quickly if you're good with that.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, so from the top we had visual effects. Just talked about it. Dune won. No surprise there. Well deserved in my opinion. I saw most of these movies. The only one I haven't seen is Better Man, and I did think Dune had the best visual effects. I don't really have that much else to say on it.
Yeah, I
So,
echo everything you said.
costume design, we called it there too. Wicked, great costumes. Conclave was my um, honorable mention in terms of they look good. I wanted Nosferatu, but no, I don't think Nosferatu won a thing, eh? All night.
No,
It's kind of too
correct.
bad. Hopefully, Man or whatever his next movie is, Eggers, he can get some shine there. So, best film editing, I think I said Honora is who I thought would win, and it did. And I think that was, that was the start, or I guess he won best screenwriting first, but when Sean Baker won screenwriting and editing, it started to feel like there was a lot of momentum
Yeah,
behind Honora. Did you feel the
yeah.
same way?
Oh, absolutely. This was Sean Baker's night. Let's just say it right now. This is Sean Baker's night. I was so happy for him, Eric. I had a huge smile for the writing, the editing, and the two others we'll get to. I freaking loved it. So happy for him. I'm a big fan of his. It's independent cinema. He said it. He said it in his speeches. His speeches were all great. He didn't ramble on. No, I was so happy for him. And Honora deserved everything it got, in my opinion. So, yeah.
I know we didn't make a prediction for this category, but were you happy to see The Substance win Best Makeup and Hairstyling?
I was surprised. I didn't think Substance would get anything, but yeah, I was super happy because those are all practical effects and they look great in the movie. So yeah,
Cinematography, The Brutalist won. So I'll say now, I've watched 2 hours and 20 minutes of The Brutalist. I don't think I'm gonna finish it, to be honest. Like
okay,
I am just not into this movie. Since it didn't win that much, we can maybe just get into it now, Matt. You've seen it.
sure.
Is
Yeah.
this a movie that you think? I saw you gave it 4 stars. Is this a movie you think you're gonna go back to down the road? Do you think it deserved to win Best Picture? Quick thoughts on, was the cinematography that good? Quick thoughts on The Brutalist.
I thought the cinematography was really good. The Brutalist is a movie that I'd probably watch. I'd have to wait 2 decades before rewatching it because of the running time. I watched it in 2 halves, so it was perfect. Here's the thing with the Brutalist: I was never bored. It never felt like it was a 3.5 hour long movie. It went by at a decent pace for me. It reminded me of watching an old school European film where it's not superly fast paced, but I don't mind it because I'm engrossed with the characters. I liked Adrian's character in the movie. In terms of he was always interesting to me to watch what he was going to do. The Guy Pearce character angle I liked. I liked where it led to at the end. It's a movie that could have been an hour and 40 minutes. Tighten the pace, shorten some scenes, some stuff. But this director decided to make a super drawn out, have longer scenes and a lot of stuff going on instead. The director, Brady Corbett's actually an actor, too. I didn't even realize who he was, but I've seen him in a bunch of movies as an actor, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy made this movie. It's very surprising, actually. No, I enjoyed The Brutalist. In terms of, it was beautiful to watch, and the performances were really good. Some weird scenes, though, Eric. I don't know how far when certain scenes happen in the movie, and then there's some reveals. Yeah, I didn't mind watching it. I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad I watched it. I don't know how I would have felt watching it in a theater though. Like just like I would have been maybe restless, and it's a long running time at the end of the day. What were you like? Were you annoyed with the movie, Eric, or just not interested? Right, like you didn't give a shit about the characters, or
Pretty much. Like I didn't. Like I'm 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and I don't care all that much. It's not really interesting to me, or I'm not engrossed or hooked. There's some appeal to it. Like it's cool to see. Like obviously the survivor story coming from Europe, from the Holocaust to America, and trying to create a new home and a second life for yourself coming out of those hardships. Like I get it. There's a lot there, but I'm just not finding it that interesting. Slow pace. Like we're building a rec center here with a pool in it, an aquarium. There's a library. I don't know. I'm just not that into it. I think he's pretty good, Brody, but it's giving the power of the dog to me in that it's a slog,
okay.
it's boring.
Okay.
Maybe the acting is amazing, but it's not doing much for me. And that's where I can't believe I compared it to Oppenheimer in the other video, or 34 minutes ago, or however long it was when you're listening. But yeah, this I might finish it now. You're convincing me a bit to go back and finish it up, but by no means can I say I'm truly loving this movie.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
don't think he
movie, yeah.
deserves to win Best Actor. We'll get into it later, but yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk about that. It is a movie where there's never, in the Brute of this, there's never like huge actiony or like crazy. It's very quiet in the sense that it's subtle, and there's nothing like crazy exciting that happens. But I don't know. Yeah,
Anyways,
I like watching it. Anyways, yeah,
no,
let's
that's
move
fair.
on.
Yeah. So production design, wicked, no surprise, looks great. Would have liked Dune or Nosferatu, but anyways. Best sound was happy Dune won this. I think that was well deserved. Especially, I saw this in IMAX. The sound there was unbelievable. I'm just seeing all these Emilia Perez nominations, and just to see it didn't win that much. Man, I will say though, the Brutalist that won Best Score, great soundtrack. I actually listened to it somewhat regularly. Really good.
I gotta check that out again then. Yeah.
Animated flow, no surprise. I'm Still Here, Best International. Gotta watch that. That's on the list. Did you get a chance to watch it?
No, I can't find it anywhere. I can't wait to watch it. It's super highly rated, and just from the clips they've shown at the Oscars, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, same here. Best writing, so original screenplay. We talked about Anora. Happy it won. I'm seeing a lot of people bash the script and compare it to that of Anatomy of a Fall, which I believe won last year, and saying like, oh, these two movies aren't even in the same league. Sure, it's not the same kind of writing, but that doesn't discredit. And I didn't think it was I've been very critical of like F-bombs in movies in the past. I don't think this was like exploitative. I thought it always worked. Like I was never sick of the F-bombs. If anything, they were actually funny in this movie. So I feel like this was well deserved.
Oh, 100%. I think his writing in all his movies is super solid and lifelike, like more realistic, not like, yeah, it's not a cinematic movie or cinematic, like, fake Hollywood writing or anything. It's more like, he's got some Tarantino in him, right? Like, he won't always have dialogue just to move the plot along. It's interesting dialogue, like you said, and it's funny, but not ha-ha way. Like, I think Nora's funny. I can show it to somebody else. Like, my sister would not find that movie funny one single bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people now are coming like, oh, Nora, it's not. Like, anytime a movie gets attention, now all the haters come out, and people who haven't even seen it are like, oh, it doesn't look good. Oh, what the hell? Like, you know, they see a couple clips at the Oscars, and they're judging the movie. But, yeah, no, I thought it was well-deserved.
Yeah, same here. And I agree with what you're saying about hating just to hate when something gets popular, gets props for sure. So then, best writing, adapted screenplay, Conclave got that. I'm not a huge Conclave guy. I've talked to a few people who are big fans of it, though, so might have missed the big writing here, the dialogue, the dialogue moments. Nothing really did anything for me in this movie. having now seen Sing Sing, I feel like this would have been a great pick in terms of the dialogue in this movie was unbelievable. Thoughts, Matt?
The whole movie's unbelievable. Let's talk about Sing Sing. You should have been nominated for Best Picture. Let's be real. It'd be in my top 3 of the year. I'm just gonna say that right now. I loved Sing Sing. Watched it the day before the Oscars. It was great. And yes, it should have won Best Adapted Screenplay. It was a powerful movie. I loved Sing Sing. Did not expect when I threw it on. I didn't even expect it to like be over half the cast are not even like really actors, and just based on a true story. And this is like a reform program, like the power of art, right? Your review, Eric, of Sing Sing that you wrote on Letterboxd is beautiful, perfect. It like summed up my thoughts, but I can't put my thoughts in writing for some reason. But yeah, I loved Sing Sing. You too, right? Like, please elaborate on what you were talking about on your Letterboxd review.
Oh yeah, I love this movie. I think just in a nutshell, for anyone who may not know, you hear Sing Sing, you think, what is this, a musical? I don't even know what you'd think, but it's essentially Sing Sing is the name of this penitentiary center, prison, whatever you want to call it, where a few of the members there started, like Matt said, a reform through the arts program where prisoners participate in theatrical production to refine themselves and find that they can in fact change who they are, their perception of themselves, and how others perceive them through participating in these theatrical performances. And they kind of get a second life, a second chance at life, I guess, or learn good life skills and lessons through it. They are vulnerable, share stories in there, and you kind of see just how they grow by participating in this program. And Coleman Domingo plays the main character, Divine G is his name. And this is based on a true story as well. So just really cool to see how some people who were very reluctant at first, when they give it a chance, they dive in with the arts and find that they have more depth to themselves that they thought that they had, and then come out of it completely changed. And I thought the movie was emotional, funny, and just powerful messaging in there as well. Also, one of my favorite movies of the year, for sure, top 5. I think it would bump down like Furiosa probably for me. I would put it in there. And yeah, Coleman Domingo as the best actor. He had the nomination, and I feel like he should have been considered more seriously for potentially the win, because he was incredible in this movie. Definitely recommend. I think it's going on Prime Video in a few weeks' time. So when that's on there, definitely check it out. Around like an hour and 40 minutes, so very digestible movie. You should get some sort of reaction at some points, maybe throughout the movie. I was dialed in the whole time. Such a good movie. And I thought, again, to what started this all, the writing, the dialogue in here was stronger than Conclave's, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's all about the dialogue in Sing Sing. It's one setting. It's very low budget. Like in terms of like, probably didn't cost a lot to make, and the dialogue is the movie. I don't know why Conclave won over this. Honestly, that might be the biggest snub of the night. We'll get into like some later the acting categories, but yeah, very powerful stuff.
So speaking of said acting categories, best actor in a supporting role, Kieran Culkin. Zero surprise here. I mean, he was pretty much a lock to win. I wasn't that crazy about his speech, to be honest. I know it's getting a lot of props online. People thought it was funny. I'm kind of on the wave that, I don't know, he's kind of like putting his wife on the spot too. Like, hey, you promised me a 3rd kid. Well, now how about the 4th? And she's openly being like, no, I don't want a 3rd and then 4th kid. So it was a bit weird, I found.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Great movie, great role for him, but wasn't crazy about the speech.
He deserved to win, but like he gave a speech like his, like a cringy character would, like someone he would play. Now I'm starting to realize, like, is he always like this? I haven't watched Succession, right? But I'm guessing he's always like Eisenberg, the same thing, always the same. But I didn't mind it. It was the first award of the night, right? So it was like set the pace. Maybe set the pace for not so good speeches. I don't know. Yeah, that was a lock.
Yeah.
Ed Norton, maybe like a legacy Oscar, but like no, we both knew Kieran was winning.
100%. So then, actress in a supporting role, Zoe Saldana. Again, no surprise. Wasn't super happy about it personally, but what can you
Yeah,
do? I mean, it begs the question, like, why was Emilia Perez even nominated for all these awards again? I think it's purely Netflix just threw hundreds of M's to the
yeah,
Academy for their
yeah.
promotion. Was Monica Barbero incredible as Joan Baez? I'm not sure, but I think she was. I haven't even seen Emilia Perez, so I can't really say. But I feel like she was better than her there. And anyways, Felicity. Anyways, what did you think, Matt?
So like Zoe Saldana was really good in Amelia Perez, but like so was Ariana Grande in Wicked. So was Monica Barbero. They gave the same level of performance, in my opinion. I've seen all the movies in this category, all the actresses, and Felicity Jones didn't deserve to win. Isabella Rossellini, I thought she might get like a legacy Oscar, but she was only in like a couple scenes. But yeah, no, Monica could have won, Ariana could have won, or Zoe could have won, but they went with like, here Netflix will give you. You guys got nominated 13 times. Here's your like one Oscar. It looked. I mean, Zoe Saldana. I like her as an actress. I'm glad. Like I'm happy for her, but man, like if you're gonna give it to Zoe Saldana, Monica Barbera, I thought was better than her in her movie. Even though, like you said, is it a super amazing performance? I don't know. Like, no, it's not like at the Chalamet level, but you know, maybe five other actresses could have been nominated for their. Maybe there's definitely better performances out there, right? For the year, there's so many movies that came out, good movies. So maybe the Academy dropped the ball there. Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
I've
and
seen
as
Wicked twice. Yeah,
sorry.
no, just Ariana is actually every time I watch. Mackenzie, my girlfriend's daughter, is really into Wicked actually right now, so I actually watched it a bunch of times, like in segments, and like Ariana Grande is puts a smile on your face when you're watching Wicked. So, and she's a great singer, great songs in the movie too. So, yeah,
Super good. Yeah, I mean, I feel like every year there's other movies that could or should get nominated. They don't always go the route that we would hope or think they would. So, not surprising, but maybe next year. We'll see. So, best actor in a leading role, we talked about already. Brody for The Brutalist. Again, from what I'm seeing, I'm not blown away. I was definitely expecting a bit more. Maybe in the last hour is where he really shines, but
yeah,
not really doing it for me. Coleman Domingo, now that I've seen the movie, I think would have been a great pick. And then Timothy, again, I feel like he would have been better served nominated for Dune Part 2, but it's the Academy doesn't really recognize those sci-fi action fantasy movies, so that's the problem there.
yeah.
But he was incredible as Paul, so that's all I got on that, really.
Timothy should have won because of the two great performances and the dedication to play Bob Dylan. Like I thought Adrian Brody was really good on. Like I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was pretty great in The Brutalist. But then I also learned like they used AI for some of his Hungarian dialogue in the movie, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like going down a rabbit hole of like they should never do that in movies to help a performance like that. I heard it was just a very little amount. But like Adrian Brody nails playing a European. He's so good at it. He won an Oscar for playing a Polish Holocaust, not even survivor, but like during the Holocaust in The Pianist, and he's great in that movie. He deserved to win that Oscar. It's like he's playing a bit of the same role here, you know, like the struggling. He's really good at playing the struggling, starving, like European immigrant. Yeah, Timothy definitely to me was better though. It's the dedication he had to the craft, even off the screen. You know, like the music, the singing, just him singing, playing guitar. Like that's he was Bob Dylan in that movie. It was incredible. And Coleman Domingo, if he would have won, I wouldn't have been sad. I would have been like, shit, he was good too. So I don't know. Giving Adrian another Oscar over Chalamet and Coleman Domingo, I thought was a huge like snub to them. It was like if I'm Timmy, I'm a little like jilted, or he'll never admit it, but like he freaking deserved to win. I don't know.
Yeah,
It left a bad taste. Yeah.
5 years of prep for the role and work for it, so I'm sure he's definitely bummed. I saw someone on Twitter say that Adrian Brody turns into prime LeBron James when it's time to play surviving Holocaust characters. Pretty funny. Like that's where he picks it up. But Coleman Domingo had no chance to win. Like there was quite literally zero promotion done for this movie. We were only seeing Adrian Brody and Timothy do press tours, promotional runs for this Oscar. Like, no one's seen Sing Sing. It would have been a complete shock out of nowhere. The media had a narrative. That was a narrative we were hearing going into the award show. Will Timothy beat Adrian Brody to become the youngest actor to win? Like, it was a 2-horse race. So, Conclave, I feel like Ralph Fiennes would have been the guy to swoop in, undeserving in my opinion. But love him as an actor. But again, I don't think he did anything incredible in that movie. But anyways, can move on to the Best Actress now. This was another big one. Was the way the night was going, I knew Mikey Madison had it in the bag. When I don't know if I think at this point, Baker won Best Director as well. So when that happened, I'm like, all right. First of all, they're getting Best Picture too, and I think I was 99% sure Mikey Madison was winning for Anora. Was very happy for her. And actually, one last thing on Adrian Brody, I think the fact that the AI news leaked, I think that hurt the movie The Brutalist in general. It won a couple of awards, but it was favored. It was the Best Picture favorite. And I think that might have swayed voters to change their opinions on the movie in general. But then again, they still voted for him, who was the one who benefited from the AI. So, then I don't know. Anyways, I'm just talking a lot here. But yeah, Mikey Madison, well-deserved. Talked about Anora a lot. And she is the movie, so makes sense that it was her. Also a two-person race between her and Demi Moore, but I think Mikey Madison was better and deserved the win. So love to see it as the Sens just beat the New York Rangers.
Oh, yes.
Also love to see it. Love to see it.
I was just tracking it. Just on a side note, guys, the game is happening right now. They start at 12:30. We're recording at 2:30, so okay, awesome. I haven't seen I'm Still Here. Fernando Torres probably great, but just the other three, Mikey beat heads and shoulders above them. Demi Moore, Carla, and Cynthia Erivo. Mikey was so much better than them. Not that we have to say better than them, just she went above and beyond compared to them. She was Anora. She is that. Every time we see her now, she's Anora. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no surprise.
So
Best Director, go ahead.
Yeah, Best Director. Sean Baker. At that point again, I'm like, this. I don't know why they have these categories. To be honest, I feel like Best Director kind of feeds into Best Picture. Am I crazy? It's kind of a Song of the Year, Record of the Year is the way I look at it. It's for the Grammys. Typically, the Song of the Year is the Record of the Year. I don't really know how they distinguish or differentiate between those two, but yeah, good for him. And it's kind of all I got.
Very rarely do the director and a picture are different movies. Back in the day, it was always the best director was the director of the best picture winner, and that always it's like a spoiler. It always all right, well, we know what's gonna win best picture. That's why when it's different, it's oh shit, they really didn't. I guess the director of the best picture winner wasn't that great, or no surprise. So happy for him though, Eric. I was smiling from ear to ear. Just hearing him talk about cinema, he has an infectious, I can hear him talk about movies all day. I used to follow his letterbox on an old account, and he writes huge reviews on movies, and he watches everything. He's like a Tarantino-esque, honestly. He watches every movie. I love him. He watches low-budget stuff, big supporter of indie cinema. When he was saying, this goes out to, the sex worker industry, I was it's a little shocking to say on national TV. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. He's unapologetic. I like that about him. Not much else to add.
Yeah, again, I saw someone online say, my dad knows nothing about Anora. And he's like, why is this guy shouting out the sex worker community? Is he a huge hookers guy? Pretty funny.
Oh, God.
But, same for Best Picture. I think it's the first time ever that someone wins Best Picture, directing, editor, and writing for a movie. So pretty unbelievable. Sets the bar high, I feel like, now for people to watch Anora. Like when I went to see it, I had pretty high expectations, and it didn't disappoint. Now I feel like people are gonna expect this to be the best movie ever. I don't think it is for everybody, just because of the frantic nature of, especially the second half of the movie, where it's could be anxiety inducing. I do think Mikey Madison in general, her character can be like very annoying, polarizing. I was a fan, but
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a movie that's for everybody. As Best Picture winners tend to not be though, right? Best Picture winners, I don't vibe with all of them at all. It's really rare that it's a movie like, is Oppenheimer one of the more accessible Best Picture winners in the last few years?
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good take, Eric. The '90s had a bunch of very safe, acceptable winners. Then, like the 2010s, they kind of went outside the box, and they went outside the box with Honor in terms of like not everyone's gonna love it. So you're correct, Eric. If we look at like the other, like I thought the Brutalist would have been a crazy pick, honestly, for Best Picture, even more polarizing. Half the people won't even watch it because of the running time. I knew as soon as Sean won Best Director that he'd win Best Picture. It's definitely it's a wild pick for the Academy to pick this one. Honestly, it's not the safe choice at all, and I already have a bunch of people at work going like, "Oh, how is Honor? What's Honor like?" Like, I'm like, "Well, this was my go-to answer. I'm like, did you like Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler? It's kind of got that same like frantic pacing going on at one point in the movie." And they're like, "Oh no, I can't stand that. It's anxiety-inducing." I'm like, "Well, I don't know if you'll like Honor then. And what do you feel about like? There's a lot of sex and nudity. Like, I don't even know if my mom will like Honor. She doesn't like heavy themes like that, like too explicit and." It's not a movie for everyone, right, Eric? So I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm just looking at
But we,
old Oscar winners, Best Picture winners, and a lot of these I'm not a huge fan of. Like I prefer a lot of the nominees. So, anyways, yeah, and
yeah.
that's all I had on the Oscars. Was there anything else that you wanted to go over in terms of retrospective on it, or any other movie talk?
No, I mean we gave a good rundown. If I was counting quickly while we were talking, I think I got 7 correct that I said I wanted to win, 7 picks right, and then I got 5 right that I thought like I thought that would win. We did the want and the think,
Yeah.
or what your heart says, what your brain says. So honestly, a lot of misses too. Actually, I'm looking at it, and I was like, I went pretty out there with some of my predictions, but anyways, it was overall good results. It was a year where I was very happy with the results,
Yeah.
and I don't say that every year. So,
Yeah, same here. Did you want to
did you like
Go ahead.
just quickly? What do you Honora or Everything Everywhere All at Once? Which movie do you like more?
No questions asked. Honora. I thought Everything Everywhere All at
Okay.
Once. I might have to rewatch it, but I was not one of the people. I'm not as crazy about Everything Everywhere All at
Okay.
Once as everyone else was. Everyone else loved the movie. I thought it was pretty good. Not trying to be a contrarian who just hates on the Best
Okay.
Picture winners here. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
Because 2 years ago, that was a controversy. That was like a wild pick too, right? So, yeah. Anyways,
Coda, I
I had
liked.
forgotten. Yeah, Coda was good. Yeah.
Nomadland, if you know my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Parasite, great.
Parasite, great. Yeah.
Green Book, I remember liking it. But a lot of people don't like it.
Oh, it's great.
Shape of Water, I haven't seen.
That's a wild pick too, honestly. It doesn't scream Best Picture winner, but I don't know. Moonlight, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, I've only seen it the one time. I haven't seen Spotlight, Birdman. I remember starting to watch it, shut it off 15 minutes
I don't
in.
did not age well. I think that movie. I think that was a mistake looking back.
12 Years a Slave, haven't seen. Argo, I thought was okay.
Yeah.
The Artist, I haven't seen.
Yeah.
The King's Speech.
2010s. Yeah, 2010s were wild picks. Like a safe pick, then an out there pick, and yeah. Anyways,
Anyway, we wanted to keep
Let's
going
do
down the
an
line, but
episode where we run down everything. That'd be cool. But anyways,
yeah, no, we could do something like that for sure. I don't think now there we've been going for a bit with the two parts combined, but
okay.
yeah, no, I'd be down to do something. It's fun, like just share my screen and just show what these winners are. You can follow along on the tube. But so yeah, so was there anything you wanted to recommend, Matt, that you've been consuming media wise?
Well, we already talked about a few, like Sing Sing. I recommend watching that movie. But other media, I'm going to go with a music pick and a TV show, and I'll just say them both at once. I'm watching the show on Amazon Prime, the British TV show SAS Rogue Agents. It's a World War II show about the forming of the British Special Forces, the SAS. And I'm on season 2 came out this year. I'm on season 2 now. It's really fun to watch. So I recommend that, SAS Rogue Agents. And the music album I'm going to recommend is The Final Call, the Dave East and Ransom album. I listened to it once. I liked it. Then I listened to it again. I liked it even more. The third time, I really liked it. And it's a really solid album, in my opinion. You should listen to it if you haven't already.
Yeah, so I checked out The Final Call. I had started listening to it, stopped, and then I saw that Brandon gave a glowing review on Instagram, as he tends to, and then I kind of just said that Ransom for me, like, I'm a fan of his lyricism. He's a great MC, but there's just something missing or that doesn't hook me. In that maybe he raps too well, he's too eloquent. And I
Okay.
feel like he needs to be complimented by someone, either a rapper or a producer. And in this case, Dave East, actually, funnily enough, someone who I could describe the exact same way as Ransom. So them together does work well together. And give it another shot. I did enjoy it quite a bit. I have listened to it twice since then. Really good album. That I think it was the line, "A winner is just a loser who tried one more time." That's on the third song. I'm like, all right. I see the vision.
Yeah.
That's a great quote right there, just to fire someone up and motivate them to keep going if you're not getting the results you want. So yeah, no, Final Call, a great album.
Did you check out another good album just quickly? Permanent Ink, Boldy James. I thought that album was actually really good. I've been going back to it like once a week. I think it's very solid. I don't know. The production on it's amazing.
I did. Come on, that's my guy, Bojack. I don't miss an album. A monthly release. I'm always on top of it. Yeah, no, I like Permanent Ink a lot, actually. He's dropped 3 albums already this year. But yeah, this would probably be my favorite one of them all. I agree. Really good album with the Royal House Beats, I think. It's the same group of people who did all the beats on here, so really good.
Okay.
No, there's some good rap albums so far this year. I'm liking Life is Beautiful by Larry June, 2 Chainz, and The Alchemist collab album. Not sure if you've checked that out. Really good stuff.
No.
Yeah, I could see this leading to eventually a 2 Chainz and Alchemist collab album. I'd love to hear that down the line because this is now Larry June's second full album with Alchemist. So I'm bringing in 2 Chainz on there. It's a nice additional complement to all those artists. So that's really good. What I'll recommend is a book called, it's really interesting, Surrounded by Idiots is what it's called. And it basically speaks to the 4 types of human behavior and how to effectively communicate with each other in business and in life. So it kind of breaks people down into 4 categories or 4 types. And it's either like extrovert task oriented, extrovert relation oriented, introvert relation oriented, introvert task oriented. So they kind of get into specifics on what the tendencies are for each type, what their behaviors tend to be, and it's just interesting. Like reading this, you definitely will see a lot of yourself. Like it's if you're not finding yourself in one of these buckets, you're an anomaly to the human race, I guess. But there's going to be a lot of stuff if you read this book that'll be like, wow, this is almost me to a T. So it was interesting to just read about what your own tendencies are and then also how to behave with people who are completely different than you, approach and view the world differently. Especially for me, for example, I was reading it and there's a specific type of person that the type that I associated with anyways, we clash on paper, and in real life I could definitely say I I know some people like that, and like we don't align at all on a lot of stuff. So it's just funny to see how I'm like, okay, now going forward when I go and interact with people like this, I kind of know how to, or I'm gonna try to, anyways, modify my
Oh,
behavior to not really, or to try to be better at communicating with these people. So I enjoyed it. I finished it. It's like 200 and some pages, so it's a
wow.
pretty easy read. Surrounded by Idiots, would recommend. Good nonfiction book.
So it's entertaining and educational. Like you learn and it's a good read.
Yeah, I
I might
mean,
have to
I
read this.
think if you're able to be open-minded and see, like, maybe see some of your own flaws as you read and accept them, right? Like that's a big part of it is self-awareness.
Yeah.
If you're not able to like, realize like, okay, yeah, this is something I do. It's not a good behavior. Let's try to change it. Then you won't get anywhere with it. But yeah, I think there's a lot to learn out, and obviously a lot of it too. Like, yeah, obviously I already know this about myself, or obviously I do these things. But me, what I found more interesting is the thing to learn about how you interact with people who are different than you. Like I thought that was
Okay. Okay. It's a
educational.
good takeaway. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good takeaway. I'm very
definitely.
curious now. I want to read it now.
Would recommend. There's a library pickup. I feel like I keep saying this every episode, but use your library. It's a great resource.
So underrated. Yeah.
Definitely. And then last thing I'll recommend is Daredevil Born Again. Season
Mm.
1 is out now. 2 episodes out. Watch them already. So good. We're back in the world of Daredevil that the Netflix show gave us. Also rated R. So where obviously the Netflix version was edgy and you had very violent scenes and blood, this is like we got f bombs in there. We're also getting political in here as well. They're putting
Mm.
some real life stuff in there. Don't want to spoil too much if you haven't seen the episodes, Matt, but it's poignant and I'm really enjoying it. Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, unreal. Once this show's done, and we'll see how he integrates in the MCU, there's a legit claim at GOAT comic book character portrayal because he was so good in the
Oh wow.
Daredevil show, and already
Okay.
2 episodes into this, he's unreal.
Okay.
So, 100% recommend.
Yeah, I'm for sure gonna check this out. I just haven't sat down and watched it yet, but I hear nothing but good things, and I saw it was a rated R, and got me more excited. So I haven't sat down yet, but maybe tonight actually, since the hockey game's already over. So
There you go.
there you go. But yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't. That's all I pretty much have.
same here. So, yeah, I mean, this was fun again. Second half, good spaced out, easy conversations, content for the people. If there's other times we can do little shorter form videos to just throw out there, I would definitely entertain that. So if you are already subscribed, let us drop a comment on the videos on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, just hit that button. We appreciate it. Any final notes for the listeners, Matt?
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed this longer episode, but in 2 segments. I really like what we did, Eric. Thank you everybody for supporting the show, and hope you're having a great end of winter right now. It's almost spring. Super excited.
Yes, sir. Almost there. So, yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to, enjoy the changing of the season. We're springing forward, so set the alarms you already have. And, peace.